We are in Shmuel Aleph, and please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. There you go. No, I got it. Okay. We are in chapter 17, excuse me. 17. Well, that's interesting. I have 16 and 17 here. Wait a second. Oh, 17 is the bottom of this page. Okay. I was looking up to the top of the page. Okay, we're in 16. We are in 16, and we are in verse 21. Yes? Okay. What happened was, they advised Shaul that they should to deal with his depression. They should get somebody who can play the instruments, and the instrument will potentially revive his spirit. So they gave him a whole description, a whole job description as to who he should get. Namely, a person who knows how to compose, a person who is strong, is a man of war, smart, can understand things, and a good-looking guy. Good. And that Hashem is with him. So what happens? They identify that this child comes from Yishai, and then it's David, and so Shaul sends to get David. So he says, Vayikach, and then what happened was Yishai gave him a gift to bring with him to the king, a donkey laden with bread, bottles of wine, one goat, and he sent David. Fine. So now 21. So V'yavo David el Shaul. So David comes and he stands, V'yamod lefanav, and he stood before him. V'yaveu ma'od, and he loved him very much. The assumption is that Shaul loved David very much. Notice he liked what he was seeing. Fine. V'yilot nosikelim, and as a result, he made him his weapon bearer person. Okay, which is interesting because you're making your instrument guy your weapons bearer.
Did Saul know that David had been anointed yet?
No. He will never know. Shaul will never know. Shaul will.
Does David know that Saul will never know? Because
yes.
He wouldn't have feared for his life.
Yes. No. We'll find out why he fears for his life. Wait, you said David, right? David fearing for his life?
I don't know. It came out right. Yeah, right.
Right. So David will fear for his life because Shaul will think he's trying to usurp the kingdom, but not at this juncture. But later on, he'll think he's trying to usurp the throne. But he doesn't know for sure that he was anointed. He will never know that he was anointed. As far as Shaul knows, he's just a kid. That's all it is. A kid that has tremendous potential, but it's just a kid. So the Malbim says, "Vayilo nosikelim." Why? Yesh lefaresh gam kein David ad. So those who explain that David went up and up and up in position ad shahayalo nosikelim keder chasarim, until he became the arms bearer like the ways of the officers. So in other words, he came in as a shepherd boy, if you will, and then what happens is he rises through the ranks, very much like Yosef, when Yosef went to Mitzrayim, right? So he went to Egypt. He was a servant for Potiphar, and he starts out as a servant, but then he becomes the one who's running the house. And again, when he went to jail, he starts out as a prisoner, one who finally is running the jail, and then he's taken out, he's given to Pharaoh, and he's made into the second in control. So David has, according to the Malbim, David has the same sort of trajectory. He's sent to him simply as the guy who's going to play the instrument. Next thing you know, he is a Nosei Caleb. That's how Caleb. That's how the Malbim understands that. So he says, "Vayishlach Shaul el Yishai lemor." So Shaul sent apparently a message to Yishai lemor, saying, "What's the message? Yamad na David lefanai." So again, you always have the question, what does not mean? Does it mean please? Does it mean now? Does it mean both at the same time? But the bottom line is, he's saying, let David, I would like to think that he was saying please. I know that the English says now, but I would like to think that Shaul is demonstrating politeness, even though he does not have to, because he's a king.
Politeness to David?
To the father.
Oh, Jesse.
To Yishai. Jesse, that's what they said?
In English.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesse, fine.
Yeah.
So he says, please let David stand before me, because he has found favor in my eyes. Like I said, he couldn't mean let him now, he will now stand before me because he's found favor in my eyes, but I would like to think that Shaul is demonstrating how people should act, and even though I have the authority to take him, that's my authority as a king, I would still like to ask you, the father, if you don't mind if I keep him now. Of course, the father is going to be only too honored that his son is going to serve the king.
Would it have been understood that money would have changed hands, or would there have been some compensation for letting him keep him?
No. You serve by the pleasure of the king. Yeah. So that is what goes on. Fine. And the Malbim also says, Ata bikesh shishaer esel b'kiviyot, and now, so he says, now he requests that he remains near him continually. So once, like I said, the Malbim wants to say now, please, the Targum says now. So you have an interesting question. What does it mean? Fine. So it says 23. Vahi biyot ruach Elokim el Shaul, and it was when the spirit of Hashem was with Shaul. V'lakach David et akino v'nigim yedo, and so David would take his harp and would play it in his hand. V'ruach l'Shaul, and v'ravach l'Shaul. And it would be, Shaul was relieved. Tovlo was good for him. V'sara me'alav ruach hara'ah, and the ruach hara'ah, that evil spirit, would depart from him. So that was the point of playing the instrument. And yeah, I'm sorry.
It's interesting discussion about in other words, is he giving a command, or is he being nice?
Both. He's not giving a command, by the way. He's saying.
If you understand it as now.
Yeah. So that does
stand before me now. It sounds like a command almost.
He will now stand before me. Notice you can say it. He will not, because future.
I think it means from here on out.
Right. He will now stand before me because he's found favor in my eyes. Like I said, everybody seems to be saying. I shouldn't say everybody, but the Malbim seems to be saying it's a request. He is saying it's a request. It could be the English is saying, "Let David stand before me now." So even the English is making a request.
Yeah.
So like I said, I don't think he's not being a bulvan about it. You know, guys understand bulvan? A bully. It's Yiddish, bulvan.
Shaul is saying, I like him. He's found favor in my eyes. So I like him.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's a please.
Yeah. Like I said, it seems to be that he wants to say, look, it's the kid's good. I want to keep him here. And like I said, he seems to be asking. At the same time, we all know that a king doesn't have to ask.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. The word "na" here can mean both at the same time. You will leave him here, yes? That's what I'm saying. Yes, you will leave him here? Okay, I'm glad we all agree on this. Great. Okay. By the way, when it says that the spirit of Hashem was with him, and then David would take the harp and play, it doesn't make sense, right? Because it says Ruach Elokim, and that should be good. So why is David playing the instrument? Why is that making him? And why does it say Ravach Shaul? Now Shaul was relieved. You have the spirit of Hashem. Why are you relieved? I don't understand what's going on here. So the Radak he answers, asking that question. He says, the Ruach Ra'ah is what was with him. So when it's saying Ruach Elokim, it really means Ruach Ra'ah, the evil spirit. Like it says, Sha'am Elamala, like it says furlough sentence, and he was relieved from that. So it can't be the good one, and so it must be the bad one. And so now when he plays, that takes away, and the Ruach Ra'ah leaves. Good, okay. So the Malbim explains, V'ruach, again, Siper ki Zamir David Asu Pri Begimel Inyanim, that the songs of David did the fruits were threefold. One was Techilad Revach, Lo Pnimich Etzla and Nafsho. First one was we give him relief. The Tov Lo, and then it was good for him. Shenebach L'Techunat Simcha, because he would go from depression to start to feeling good. Al Yedei Kain, and through having the Simcha in his heart, the good feeling, the evil spirit would be removed from him. Vinei Bezeh Siper, and in this we are being told, Eich Savev Hashem Shevo David Eitzel Shaul, how Hashem made it that David would be around Shaul. This was the original reason for all this happening afterwards. Until it would be the time for him to become, until time for David to become the king. And now, from now, it's time to explain how he went from one level to the next. That he was a valiant person, a man of war. Karen David, and how he became great. So there's a couple of things going on here that you can read between the lines. Since David was anointed as king, you need to train the king how to be a king. You have to show a person how to be king, right? There has to be a apprenticeship here. So what happens is Hashem can't just throw him into the mix, as it were. That wouldn't be nice, since we already have an established kingdom. So now I'm going to make it that Shaul needs somebody. He's going to bring in, David will be brought in. David will be around the kingdom. Now he's going to get the reputation of the kingdom, of working with the king. And he's going to be the next in line, logically, when Shaul goes away. In other words, he would have had his battles already. He would have had everything done. So now it's just, it would be like the vice president taking over from the president. That would, by the way, in any organization, if you think about it, how organizations run, what do? You start off as a board member, and then you work your way up, if you will, to the upper offices, and you go from, usually goes secretary to treasurer to vice president to president. So that way you've seen all four, you've been at the bottom, which is board member, that's the bottom, if you will, of the organization. Because as a board member, you have no power except for a single vote, but you don't have. You're the guy who sits in the back and says, I don't want to really get involved right now. I want to hear what you giants are doing. Fine. In a logical system, not in a Schultz system, everybody is yelling at the same time. Okay, but in a logical system, that's how you want it. So then what you do is you're moving up, and like I said, you have to do whatever. You have to do everything. I have to know how to take notes. That means I have to listen. By the way, when I'm listening, I know how to take notes. I know how to summarize it. Right? That's what the secretary is all about. Then I have to see the expenses, and I have to work the expenses, and I have to, with, of course, people tell me what to do, but I have to see the books. Fine. Then I have to become vice president, but when I'm vice president, I'm thinking, what I'm going to do when I become president. Then I become president, and I wish I was vice president. Because I don't want to do it anymore. Okay. But that is how an organization works. And then, of course, what we do, we kick the president out and make him, what do you call it? Immediate past president. So he gets to be there as a Ich bin da, I'm an advisor. Okay? Means I don't have to deal with the other Mishigas, and I can be a tzaddik here. A consultant. And then, after that year, he goes back to being just a regular person, and give him a couple of years, we'll be back on the board and start all over again. Okay. But that's really how the organization works. So here, the same thing with David. He has to know how the kingdom is going to work. So if that's the case, I have to put you in, as it were, the bottom floor, and now you're going to rise to the ranks, and then you'll be able to lead, because people will trust you. That's an important thing to know. That's an important thing to say. If I start at the top, nobody trusts me.
You can't make him the king immediately.
Right. The biggest problem with Trump is Trump never was in politics. He only ran a business. Now you're throwing him into a place where he doesn't have the power of a CEO, but he has to be the ultimate salesman. Well, if he wasn't trained in that, why should I have respect for that? And the same thing was Obama, by the way. Obama also didn't have that much. I think he was only one-term senator or something before he was thrown into the big mix. But others who came up, like Reagan, at least he was governor of California, right? California?
Yeah.
California. So he had a system. Even Kerry had Kerry and all the guys who I would never vote for in my life, because I'm from Massachusetts, but Kerry, Dukakis, and everybody else, they had experience. Even Kennedy had years of experience. And so those are the people you could see moving up the ranks. You would understand that. You would trust, quote unquote, trust that, as much as you can trust any politician. But you would trust that. But here, when somebody comes in and just you throw them in, nobody wants to do it. And I've seen it in real life, where you put somebody was made a manager, coming from a totally different store, never worked at a store, and he was made a manager, and he didn't know what he was really doing in that business. And so the people, all the workers are saying, why should he be my manager? I should be the manager. And it was a rebellion. Yeah, so you were going to say?
To back up again a little bit. So Joel sends to Yishai, somebody David, your son.
Right.
And you talked in 21, stood before him, he loved him, he was his weapon bearer, and you talked about made comparisons with Yosef, but why in 21 it says that he was his weapon bearer, but then he's going to play the harp after that, though. I don't know. So that, why are they?
He's everything. He's everything. In other words, he started off with the thing of just being to calm him down, to calm the savage beast, but he's also his weapons bearer. He's also brought up the ranks. In other words, he made him everything.
Why did it tell us that first, though? I mean, as soon as he brought him, he said...
No, he says he brought him in, right?
And he was his weapon bearer.
No, he says he came to David, he stood before him, comma, or actually semicolon, and he loved him very much, comma, and he made him his weapons bearer.
So this is giving an abbreviated story. Now
right.
It's breaking it down.
Correct. Now it says... Okay. And then he says, once that happens, he told his father, I want to do it. So now we have what happened. When the spirit of Hashem came upon him, that was a negative spirit, David would come, he would take the harp, and he would play the harp. It would calm Saul down and remove the bad spirit. So that was really his ticket in, but ultimately he became weapons spirit.
Your book is Hebrew or English, what you're looking at?
He has both.
All right.
Yeah.
I think everybody has both, yeah. And then I have all Hebrew.
I didn't know what of your questions was your words and what of your questions was someone else's words.
No, I was trying to incorporate what Rabbi Neville was saying. I was trying to.
All right, so you're really looking at the English.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out exactly how the commentators, where they're coming from, also.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So now it says we're now starting Yud Zayin 17. V'yazvu Pelishtim. Now we come to a war. V'yazvu Pelishtim et machaneim lemilchama. Now the Pelishtim gathered or they assembled their camps to make war. V'yazvu Socha, and they camped between Socha Ashil Yehuda, that was in the area of Yehuda. V'yachnu ben Socho uben Azeka be'efes damim. So they encamped between Socho and Azeka, which was in Ephes Damim. And that, Rashi says, that's the name of the place, Ephes Damim, which means bloods. Everybody.
Which means what?
Damim is blood.
Oh, yeah, like the plague.
Right. So it's interesting that they would call a place Ephes Damim. I'm sure there's a story there that we'll sooner or later hear.
What does Ephes mean?
Ephes means, if I remember correctly, nothing.
Huh.
Ephes is zero.
Ephes.
No, that's Yiddish.
Yeah.
Ephes. Yeah.
All right, so my question
Yeah.
that I have now, I'm looking backwards. Half my time is spent reading backwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this in 17 the very first ever mention of the Philistines?
No. They've been mentioned many times.
Where, until before now.
Yeah.
Where are they from? Well, what do they want? What's their motivation?
Which book did
for
they start in?
They're back in Genesis.
Why are they assembling for war now?
Oh, because they are the continual enemies of the Jews. So they're on the coast. They're coastal people. I mean, that's where they came from, the coast. But they want, like anything else, they want to hold the territory.
Of the coast, or
I don't think that Monica's right.
Gaza area.
Oh,
Right. So they're known to be seafaring people. Seafaring. Excuse me.
People go look across the dam and they're like, oh, the Philistines were probably Phoenicians, just from where they say people were.
I'm not sure. Like I said, the Plishtim were known as seafaring people, and but they were also invaders. So they wanted to take over the land. So what happened was, with Shmuel defeated them. That's how he got his reputation. He defeated them at one point, and for the most part throughout his life after he defeated them, they were too afraid to come back and to get involved. Well, like any good warring people, you just have to, you tuck tail for a little while, build up your resources, and then you come back for more and see if you can do it again. Because let's understand how crazy people are. Okay? If I soundly defeat you and embarrass you, the odds are you're going to keep trying to bother me until either I give up or I make a mistake, whatever the case is going to be, and then you're going to try to get me because you have nothing left to lose. I've embarrassed you. Okay? That, if you look at all of the wars that Israel has had to undergo in the time from 48 to now, I think that everybody would strongly agree that Israel has soundly defeated the enemy each time they've come together.
Yeah, but each time establishes a pattern.
Right. So now what happens is they say, and this is more midrashic, if you will, than written in any books. But in 1967, when the Israelis pushed everybody back and basically went nearly to Cairo, but they got back. They regained their territories, or we call the West Bank, and so on and so forth. So the people in the areas of they weren't Palestinians at that point, but the people that they went back, they said, so they were religious minded, and they said the Jewish God has defeated us. Forget it. God has defeated us. We've lost. And so the story continues. And then they saw one of the soldiers eating something non-kosher. And they said to him, how can you eat that food? It's not kosher. And the soldier said, what are you bothering me for, kosher, not kosher? What do I care, kosher? I don't hold by that. That's ancient law. To which the prisoner responded, oh, we didn't lose. We can still win. Because what they all understood in the Middle East, is that is all run by God. So if the Jews are doing what we're supposed to be doing, we're undefeatable. You're not going to beat us.
He was talking to the wrong soldier, apparently.
No, apparently there's a lot of soldiers like that. That was the sad part about it. And there still is.
But you know that there is, I don't know how you refer to the military organization.
Sahal.
Say what?
Sahal.
Yeah, well, there's a group of
Yeah, there's a group
very
of
orthodox
correct
soldiers.
Correct, but there's also the group that's not. So he was saying, as long as there are people who don't care and are not giving the credit to God and not following God's law, this is the non-Jewish person talking. That's when they have that's the chink in the armor, and that's why we can still fight them. So the Palestinians are the same. The Philistines. By the way, Philistine and Palestinian are the same name. Well, let's understand that. Okay, that's where they get it. That's where they get Palestinian from. Right. Philistines. So that's why it's not such a crazy thing to keep saying Palestine, but okay, and that's how they got Palestine. It was a Roman. The reason it's called Palestine was because they didn't want to call it Judah or Judea and Samaria, so they insulted us by calling it by our enemy. So that's why they call it Philistia, which became Palestine. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So the Philistine understand the same thing. Everybody in those days, they said their God is allowing this to happen. So the Jewish God is stronger than our God. So we're going to, or our God is stronger. So they kept saying, if we do this, if we sacrifice enough children to God, God will let us win the next battle. So they are constantly coming back and back and back, and that's where it is coming up. But Philistines have been bothering us from the beginning of Genesis.
Well, I got that down here, not from the translation, but from the commentary.
Okay.
Down here.
Right.
It said something about that they should mount a new offensive only a few months later. Well, the text doesn't say that.
Well, again, it's saying from before.
Yeah.
That in other words, you had to go back to before this whole thing started. Is before Shaul was named king. Which is only 2 years in the whole making. So yeah, it would make sense that they're coming up again. And why they're coming up? Because God has to ultimately get rid of Shaul, but it's also because people aren't following what they should be doing, and that's why Hashem has to send the Plishtim again. Okay. So like I said, so they gathered where they gathered. Okay, fine, we said that. And so Rashi, Malbim explains, V'yes for Plishtim, Misapiki, B'sor Ruach Hashem, Merosh Malkam, since the spirit of Hashem was removed from their leader, Nishta Gevurot Yisrael. So now the strength of Israel was placed for Gavra Oyev Pelishtim, and so now the enemy got stronger. Where does it go? Mekarov Naflu Lifnei Yonatan Levado, so they would fall before Yonatan. Ata Erev Arev Libam Lechov Yisrael. So now they want to again fight with Israel. V'lo zeh v'lo zu levad. But not only this, Ela ki tekef she'asfu et machlem. But immediately when they gathered their camps, be'eretz Pelishtim halchu le'eretz Yehuda. Once they gathered their camps in the land of Pelishtim, they went to the land of Yehuda. V'sham gamru. So they finished the gathering, as it were, and that's why it says, and they gathered to Sochel, which was in Yehuda, and they were not even afraid, be'eretz Yehuda, in the land of Yehuda, ki'ilu kavar kavshu ours. They're acting like they already conquered it. V'tekef ach hit asfu b'Sochel, and immediately after they gathered in Sochel, ne'atu misham el efes damim, they uprooted their camp and they went to Ephes Damim, Lehit Karev El Machaneh Yisrael, which would bring them closer to the camp of Israel, V'sham Chanu, B'Machaneh, and that's where they encamped. Okay, so they're acting as if they've already conquered the area. Okay?
This in here says Terebinth Valley or something. What's the Hebrew for that? This Terebinth, it doesn't even look like the...
Ha'ala. Emek Ha'ela.
What?
It's a tree. Terebinth is a tree.
Is that a Hebrew word, Terebinth?
No, that's an English word.
It's not a Hebrew structure word.
That's a Hebrew word. That's an English word. No, it's not Hebrew.
What did you say?
I think it's a translation. In the Hebrew, we know it as that word as well.
No, Ha'ela is a tree.
Right. But
it's not Terebinth is just the English translation of that.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the Hebrew word for the tree, it's the English word for the tree.
Right.
Same tree.
Right. All right. Okay.
It didn't look like a Hebrew kind of word.
It's not. Okay, so second verse. Shaul v'ish Yisrael nesu sunal. Shaul and the men of Israel gathered v'yachnu be'emek ha'ela, and they came to this valley of the terebinth, as you said, the tree. V'yarchu milchama l'krat Yisrael plishtim. So they gathered. They set an array, I should say, for war to meet the plishtim. Okay, so they're getting ready. They know that Rashi and Malbim explains that Shaul and the men of Israel, Hem lo arav libam legirsham, they did not, it was not in their heart to drive them away. They did not, it was not their desire to drive them away when they first initially landed in Socho, in the time when they were gathering, v'gam pachtu l'karev alehem, and also they feared to come close to them. Rather, what they did was they camped in the valley of Elah, Rachok Meshucha, which is far away from Socho. And so therefore that's why the Plishtim went from Socho to Efes Damim, because they were going to come closer to the camp of Israel. And not the other way around. And so this teaches that the heart of Israel had melted. Okay, so what we're seeing is, think about it, somebody's coming to your land. Okay, so you don't really want to deal with this again. You've defeated them a little while ago, but now they're come back with strength, and you don't want to do this. You're tired. So you just set up camp another place. Well, the enemy sees that as a capitulation. And says, oh, you're afraid of us. Okay, so we're going to move from here to here. Now we're going to confront you. Now we're going to have a good time, because we already know you lost. You lost. Say again?
Catching someone on the back heel as they're stepping back.
No, it's actually you're going right into his face.
I know, but as they're moving back, the Philistines are coming in.
Oh, they weren't going back. They just held the line in a different place. So they were like, okay, we'll set up our troops. Again, I'll use modern day stuff that's going on. We have a caravan coming from Mexico or something. Where are they coming from? Where's the caravan coming from?
Paraguay.
Caravan.
The one they're talking about in the news all the time.
Mexico.
They're coming through Mexico? They're from Mexicans? What are they?
I think it's Paraguay. Was it Paraguay?
I haven't heard this. Caravan.
That's a whole political thing that's going on today.
Thousands.
Camels?
No, I'm talking about the people who are trying to come into the country illegally.
Through Mexico.
Through Mexico, right? So are they coming from Mexico? Are they Mexicans themselves?
What? Probably some, but I think it's Paraguay.
Okay.
Which country?
I think it's south of Mexico, because that's the whole thing.
You know what the saddest thing is? I have 5 people in this room, and we all just know it's a caravan coming. We don't know where they're coming from. Okay, fine. But the bottom line is,
Well, I don't listen to news. What's the
Ecuador. Maybe it's Ecuador.
I also don't listen. I'm learning Torah all day, so I don't know. I just hear it every once. I hear once in a while.
Whatever is, I think, to the south.
Okay.
To the south.
So whatever the case is, these people are coming to us, right? Yeah. So we're not going to now. I supposedly they're going to send troops to the border. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but supposedly they're going to do that. Fine. If they didn't already do it, the point is we're setting up border controls, right? Patrols, but we're not going further in. We're just going to wait until they come to us. Okay. So now they could either see that as a point of weakness. These people who are weak and so on and so forth. That's how they be portrayed, I think, by the news media. These weak people are going to come into the strong American army. Now, are we just holding it, and therefore they're seeing that as a sign of weakness, or are we going to go forward? Okay, so that's the question. So here,
but it's not the only question, because instead of weakness, you could call that preparedness.
Okay, but there's the Philistines. Go back to this story, very much so, are seeing this weakness. They're seeing this total weakness because we already walked into their land. Imagine if those people had already coming past the border, they already jumped over the wall, climbed the wall, do what they had to do. Or, by the way, in some parts of that wall, there is no wall. They could just, if you go to Canada, and if I would, from Maine to Canada, okay, there you could literally walk across the border like I walk across the street here. There's no block. There's no guard. I can cross. It's a line in the sand.
No checkpoint.
There's no checkpoint. There's a line in the sand. That's all this. A line in the sand that says this is the United States of America. This is Canada. Okay? So what happens, and by the way, these people who live on that line, it's very funny. Some people bought land before, I don't know how they did it, but for some reason it went over the line.
Oh.
So they have to pay double tax. And then they wanted to put the line up. When they wanted to put a fence up, they said, you can't put, that's my land you bought. Yeah, you can't do that. So it was an interesting fight. I don't know how they settled it, but it was an interesting thing because literally you didn't know what the line was.
Is that like farmland you're talking
Yeah,
about?
it was farmland. You didn't know what the land was. And by the way, the forest also depends on where you are. There's a river in some places that you could literally walk across.
I don't suppose they checked the survey when it was first walked off?
I guess not. Well, that was the line moved. Could have been the line moved.
Have you ever seen, I don't know, I forget the name of it now, a survey map? They're not numbered 1 through 5, 6 through 10. They're numbered like this.
All right.
Why? Because that's how they walked it off originally.
Okay.
They don't have to walk all the way back to start over again. So they just kept going, which is why a plat or whatever map that is, 6 is down here, not over here.
Okay.
Or wherever the number is.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So it's interesting that, sometimes you can do that. And that's what happened. I remember that in Canada. When I was there in Canada, I remember hearing that ridiculous case where they were having a fight. Can I, do I have to pay taxes here? Can I allow you to farm here? What's the rules? Because in America,
They did the
Canada.
same thing on Green Acres, actually. The house was in Pixley, but the barn was in Stankwell Falls.
Oh, that is, okay. I'll take care of it.
Green Acres.
Yeah, I know this. I know the. I know the show. I don't remember the that sort of thing. It wasn't my show, but that's what's going on. So they're seeing this as a point of weakness. Okay, so now let's go on. And it says Pelishtim omdim. So the Pelishtim stood El Ha'ir Hamizeh Yisrael omdim al Har Hamizeh ve'Gai b'neim. So the Pelishtim stood on this mountain. The Israelites stood on the other mountain, and the valley was between them. Okay, that's for all the people out there. The valley is between. I'm really saying I'm doing the hand motion for all my viewers. Okay, so the valley is between them. So what is going to be there? So that is going to be a way for them to figure out. They can look at each other. Fine. So now Dalit. So there was a man. We're going to just read the verses in a very quick fashion right now, just so you can understand what's going on. Then we'll go back next week and finish this off. So now there's a man who from amongst the camps of Pelishtim. Goliath, Goliath was his name. Goliath was his name. Migat, and he came from Gat. Gavho Sheish Amot Vizaret. His height was 6 amot and a span. Was a cubit? Cubit is 2 at most 2 feet. At most 2 feet. So you have a 12-foot and a span. So maybe I don't know what that would make him. I'm not sure what the span would be.
What's the span? This?
I think like that, but I'm not sure.
I mean this for a span?
No. Height. It's all height. So he was a tall guy. Bottom line is a tall guy. I think that's the span. I'm not sure what the span was anymore. But he doesn't. What does it say?
What was the height?
The height was 12 feet. 12 feet.
12. And then what are they calling the span?
I think it's more inches.
Small measurement.
It's a small
measurement.
measurement.
Could be up to as much as 2 feet.
Right. It could be as small as 1.5 feet. So again, whichever way you're going to do it.
That would still be 9 feet.
Yeah, so he's not. Let's make him 9 feet. Let's make the guy 9 feet. Okay.
Which is conceivable.
I want to know. It was funny that I saw this online. Again, I don't know how true it is. It's online after all. So, but they said that they found bones that people were about 9 feet. They measured there was
a lot of them, you mean?
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
Wow.
That they were
like the Watusis are very tall, huh?
Right. Well, you have the football. I mean, the basketball players are 7 odd.
Yeah, that's not everybody though, but I mean, in terms of a general population.
Right, but they had general population that they were nice tall. Well, what was crazy was that they were that.
All were 7 feet.
Right, so it seems that they were that tall, and they supposedly have some evidence. I have no idea, but I just thought it was interesting when they supposedly unearthed these graves that they would have 9 feet tall people. Okay. But anyway, so Vakova Nechoshet al Rosh, he had a brass helmet on his head. What we're trying to say is it was a heavy helmet. That's really why they want to get to that. Okay, V'shiryon Kaskasim Hulavush, and wearing a coat of mail. And the reason they call it Kaskasim is because it's like a fish. Fish has scales, so that's Kaska. Okay.
Yeah, kind of attached, riveted together like that to
Right.
where it'd be flexible.
Correct.
But yet it could shield them.
Right. Well, Mishkal Sirion, and the weight of the coat of mail was Chameshet Alafim Shkalim Nechoshet, was 5,000 shekels of copper. Okay. Mix it Nechoshet Al
Heavy.
He's a strong guy. We want to get across that the guy is strong, tall and strong. Okay. We mix up Nechoshet Al Raglav, and he had copper. I don't know what greaves are, but okay. He had pants, basically, of copper pants.
You use to protect your calves and stuff, like the Achilles tendon.
Okay, good. So it's like a pants type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because on the
Are
legs.
they removable?
Yeah.
Because he's
Yeah.
What you're talking about an exoskeleton.
No. What?
Yeah.
What's an exoskeleton?
Your armor is strapped on you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's an articulated something that you look like a mechanical man.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
exoskeleton.
Yeah. Good. He's it's protecting everything. And he also had a copper javelin that was between his shoulders.
What does that mean between you? A javelin? He's carrying a big spear across his chest.
Yeah. Like
on his back or something.
Right.
If you would see my hand X-rays, you would see the same kind of assembly.
Okay, but yours is inside. His was outside.
Right.
Mine
Okay.
was installed, yeah.
So what happens?
Yeah.
Again, so he has all this stuff. Again, we're just getting to see how strong he is. V'chetz chanito kimenod orgim, and the shaft of the spear was like a weaver's beam, apparently a big thing. V'leheve chanito sheish me'ot shkalim barzel, and the spear's head was 600 shekels of iron. Nos yatzina holech lefanov, and the shield bearer went before him. Okay, so what we had is a picture of this very, very tall guy, and he's going to start. I won't get that far, but I just want to give that. We'll discuss it next week. But what we're seeing is, here is a guy battle ready. He's going out amongst the people. He's head and shoulders above everybody. At 9 feet, he should be. And he's about to threaten Israel and say, send out your best guy. Let's have a one-on-one, mano al mano, and whoever wins, we don't have to kill everybody. Whoever wins, that's who's going to be the new leader of the pack. And whoever loses will be the slaves to those others. And that's really what's going to happen. And we'll see how it works out.